welcome guys to yet another episode by AtReef.com. In this episode we're gonna go over a two-part video about maintenance on a reef tank and how to bring back your aquarium from a devastation that has been going on. This episode and the next episode are the followed together, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, and let's jump into how to maintenance your reef tank from a disaster. This is one of the brand of salts that I use for my water change, the HW Marine Mix, and I think the professional brand type of it is very good for mixing into your aquarium. I had a lot of success with it. Before I used to use different brand of salt mix. One thing that you want to know is that you want to pick one type of salt, whatever it is, and stick to it. Changing your salt may result in changing your parameters, and it's not that good. So my recommendation to you guys is pick one salt and stick to it. We make this mistake and then we try to get different type of salt in order to see what they like, and that's okay, but as long as it's not permanent and it's temporary. At the end of the day, we need to pick one and stick to it to keep the parameters in balance, because every salt has different formula, different chemical, and this is just a tip that I want to give to you guys. Now, this is my aquarium. As you can see, it has been neglected for a very long time, and in this episode, the reason that I did this is that I wanted to make this video to show you guys how to bring this aquarium back. Now my nitrate, my phosphate are off the hook, and I wanted to bring all of them back. The first thing that we need to know is making the water, cleaning the protein skimmer, cleaning the sump, cleaning the light, cleaning the probes, changing out the filters, changing out the pads, refilling the water, cleaning the glass, cleaning the pump, the return pump. As you can see, everything is a mess, and all of these together, they can have negative effect on your overall aquarium. One of the most important thing is that we don't take a look and we don't count for it. Even the pumps that are look dirty, that means they have some bacteria on it that they could result in creating nitrate, phosphate, and stuff that you don't want in your system. And of course, the most important part is your aquarium itself. You want to make sure that it's clean. The glass is clean, the sand is clean, the rocks are clean, the walls of the back of your aquarium is clean. And the only way that you could accomplish this is by doing regular maintenance. And if you haven't done it, this video we're going to talk about how to do it. I mean, of course you guys know how to do it in a proper way, but I think there's some steps that is good to know in order to do this. One other very important aspect to this is cleaning the where the water returns to your sump, and that's the overflow box. Overflow box get neglected all the time. And if you want my tip, as a tip, I'll let you guys know that every week when you do your maintenance, you must clean your overflow box, because otherwise it will be really nasty. And I'll get back to overflow box in a bit when we're going to talk about cleaning the overflow box, and you guys will see how messy it gets inside of the overflow box, and I have some tips for you guys. So let's get started in mixing the water. The first thing is that you want to have your water put in a bucket overnight. That's what I do. I pour my water and I just let it sit there overnight. And you don't want to use water from your tap water. You must use RODI water. Now, for some people that they don't have the luxury of using RODI water, I recommend at least use some material to just dechlorinate the water, because otherwise your aquarium will be a mess. After pouring the water from my RODI system, I put a heater in there and I put a circulation pump before adding anything on it to be oxygenated, and it's just, I think it just makes the water prepared for it being mixed. and I keep the temperature on my mixture at 80 degrees, and my temperature at my aquarium is at 78, and they don't go together. But by the time that if I make this 80, by the time that I pour it back to my tank, it becomes 78. Now that I have my salt, it's been a day. The water is ready, and now I'm gonna try to pour the salt in. One thing that you guys want to do is that you guys want to, as you can see on my bucket, I have marked how much I want to pour water in there. It's 10 gallon that I put in there, and I marked it where 10 gallon is. And the first time that you want to mix your salt, you want to count how many how much salt you put in there. This time I haven't counted, so I'm testing it. But from that experience, I learned that in order to mix my salt, I need 10 cups of salt to mix my water. So I have the correct salinity that I want for my aquarium. And it's very important to learn this so later on you won't overdose it, or that way you're always at the same level. But you want to make sure that it's correct. That way you won't have any problem. And if, for example, you put more salt into the mixture, you want to add some water to overcompensate the salt that you have in there. So one more thing that you guys want to know, you guys want to change 10 to 20% water at the time. More than 10 to 20% water at a time will cause to a mini cycle inside your aquarium, and you don't want to have a mini cycle inside your aquarium because that will cause, again, some issue with your tank. So keep under 10 to 20% water change. I personally do a 10% water change every week. My tank is around I guess 80 gallon. No, actually I do more than 10%, around 70 gallon, and I do 10 gallon water change weekly, and I think this is good. Sometimes when it goes for it, I do more than that, but mostly this is what I go. Now, speaking of aerating the water, it's very important that when you're mixing your salt, you have to let it sit there in the salt for at least a day. You look at the water now, it kind of looks milky. That's why we need to let it sit. Another thing that I do is that I get an air stone, and I connect it to my aqua lifter, as you can see right here. This is another really good cheap pump, and I put an air tube into the aqua lifter, and I put the air stone in the other end, and I just let the air stone sit inside the salt water to just aerate it. This way the water that goes to my tank is well oxygenated, and it won't shock my tank that much. And I recommend you guys don't have to do this step, but these are just the little mini mini things that I do that I think it helps your aquarium. This little stuff is what separates your tank from others, and what gives the coral and the fish inside of your aquarium a better result. So I recommend you guys do this. It doesn't take that much time, it doesn't take that much hassle, and just plug it in. That little oxygen goes a long way. This is the glass cleaner that I use. I use the Tunzi magnet, and I have to say, this is the best glass cleaner that I have ever used. It is strong, and it has the option for the blade. If you have an acrylic aquarium, do not use the blade. But if you have glass, I recommend using the blade when you're trying to bring your aquarium back, because I accept that by now you have a lot of buildup of calcium and algae and stuff in your glass that it needs an extra hand to be able to clean it. Again, this is a very good magnet. Before cleaning this, I recommend you guys to turn off your pump and make the tank ready for it. Now, in order for me to turn off my equipment, what I use is my Apex system, and I just go to my Apex and I shut off my protein skimmer, I shut off my return pump, and except I'm sorry, not the return pump. I keep the return pump open because I want the dirty stuff to go and get caught by my filter socks. So this is how we're gonna do it. Now after you turn everything off, you want to turn your reactor, your ATO and everything off. And after they're all off and you're all good to go, you're all set, you're gonna start you have to start cleaning the glass. And this is may look that hard, but with the right tools and right equipment, this is not actually that hard, and you could do it really really easy. As you can see, this is it's not that pleasant to look at this, especially you got to think about all this uh, bacteria and algae that you're adding to your water. So if you are doing this, I recommend doing at least 20% water change if you have neglected your water that much for that long. And be sure to clean all the side of your aquarium. It is very important to be precise and to be detailed, so to get all the stuff that is going on, all the dirtiness, all the nastiness. You want to make sure to get it all off. It took me some time. It took some time because you have to be careful because you don't want to scratch your tank either. But with a little bit of patience and a little bit of, I guess, work, you can do a really good job on it. Now after you clean all the glass of your aquarium, the outside is time, the inside is time for outside. For the outside, I recommend just getting a paper towel and just going over it. And if you need some solution, I recommend do not use it. For you to not use any type of solution. The only solution that you could use for your aquarium glass is some just auto DI water by itself, and just spray some auto DI water to your glass and start cleaning. If you really need to use some solution, then you could mix your auto DI water with some vinegar and then start cleaning it. Now the next thing that you can do is to grab a tool. Now I have a set of tools that I use for my aquarium to clean different part of the tank. Now using this tool, which I really don't know what it's called, I clean between the edge of my overflow, and I try to get all the gunk and all the algae that builds up there out of there. Now again, this is another step to help remove any excess source of nitrate out of your tank, because all these sources of all this built-up of this algae and dead material and piece of food left behind in your tank could result in being a source of nitrate, nitrite, and phosphate. So you want to remove as much as you can. And again, this is another step that helps improve the process. Now another item that I really use to clean the back of my aquarium is this item that I have bought by National Geographic channel. They have a line of aquarium cleaning supplies that they sell, and this one in particular caught my eyes in PetSmart that I took, and it's a sponge basically that helps you clean the back of your aquarium or the glass of your aquarium. And again, cleaning the back of your aquarium is another important thing that you need to do, because again, you don't want it to build up algae in there unless you are planning to have it be overgrown by coralline algae, which that's a complete different story. Again, if you're planning to have coralline algae, still you don't need regular algae over it. But if you're not planning to have coralline algae and you don't have a heavy stock tank and it's easy to access the back of the glass of your aquarium, I recommend cleaning the back at least once or twice a month, depending on your cleaning schedule. Now again, you don't have to do this every day or every week, but it could be implemented in your schedule to help you bring down the nitrate, phosphate, and bring down the levels. Unless you have another reason that you might not want to clean it is because if you have tanks in your aquarium, and tanks they like to nip on a little bit of algae, so you need to leave some behind for them unless you have feeding plan for them. Again, uh, these are just tips and quick tips that I do and you guys could implement from it. One of the other factors that could cause an aquarium malfunction is to not have top up water. So one more thing that I do is that I get my top up container over there, and I fill it. I fill my container every 5 days. My tank goes to 1 gallon evaporation a day. So every 5 days I have this 5 gallon auto top off system or auto top off container that I just have a line from my RODI, and I just leave it in there and I just wait till it gets filled. And I try to fill it up every 5 days. That's another thing that you may want to consider putting it in your schedule to not forget about it, because if you have a sump and your level comes down, it could be really dangerous since you have your heater, you have your return pump and all of that in your sump. So that's another thing to keep in consideration. That the sponge did a really good job, but as you can see, it didn't remove everything from the back of the aquarium. So that item that I bought, it actually comes with different heads. So now I'm using the other head to just kind of go in detail and just try to get everything off the back of my aquarium. Again, these are optional. You don't have to do this, but me personally, I like to remove any sort of nitrate causing items from my aquarium out. Now the next tool that I have is this item that I have right now, and I mainly use this item to clean around my return nozzle and just get some fine detailed cleaning inside of my aquarium. And this tool really helps. I've been using it for a long time. I just gets the smallest crustacean and smallest algae off of my return nozzle. I think having a clean return nozzle is actually as well important as having a clean aquarium. So this is another thing that you guys could implement in your cleaning. Again, I like it. It does the job for me, and I think it all comes down to details. And as you can see, some of these stuff, the crustacean of the salt and saltcrete, they just hiding and just built and built and built, and it's not a problem that they built. The problem is that they acute bacteria and germs to them, and it just becomes and becomes nuisance algae that you don't want in your aquarium and a source of nitrate. So removing it, it's the best step. Now you don't want it to have them just fall inside your aquarium. If you can remove them, physically remove them. If not, just clean them before you do your water change. And of course, one of the items that every aquarium should have is a turkey baster that I use with this to just blow air, blow water around the rocks to get all these detritus that they just settle in to the rock to just get out of them and just get them loose before I start pulling water out of my tank. Again, this is another step that I think it's necessary, and I think it goes a long way. It helps to just get everything out of there, and just I like to tell myself that before doing a water change, make the water as dirty as you can, not by time, but by cleaning around the aquarium and around the rocks. That way, you remove more unwanted stuff that you want. And of course, I have a toothbrush that sometimes, not all the time, I just go in there and I just try to clean the rock a little bit, get a little bit of those algae off of it. Now, one thing is that you don't want to remove all the algae because some of the creatures inside your aquarium use those algae to live. But again, this is in case that your tank is going through a disaster and everything is wrong with it and you want to just rebuild it. So try to remove any type of algae as much as you can physically, and then implement other type of filtration in order to remove it. So this, get a clean toothbrush, and just I recommend buying one for your aquarium, and keep it in your cleaning supplies for your aquarium, and just go over your rocks. You don't want to push it too hard to get all the beneficial bacteria off of it, but just scratch on top of the rock a little bit with a very soft pressure, just to take some of the algae off of the rock. And this will ensure just making sure that your rocks are in a prestige shape and they are looking as good as new. And again, I like to go over everything one more time. Just make sure that everything looks clean, everything looks the way it's supposed to be. There is nothing left behind. And then I go inside the overflow box, and I try to clean inside the overflow box again. Now, cleaning overflow box is a must, and I can emphasize on how important it is to clean inside your overflow box. I personally have a pump inside of my overflow box that turns on, kicks on every other night for 4 hours at night to agitate the water and get all those nasty stuff that they settle inside your overflow box out of there, remove it, and bring it back to your bring it down to your refugium. So that way your filter stocks, your protein skimmer, your filters, they all have a chance to remove those unwanted stuff out of there. So it's very important to clean the back of and inside your overflow box. It gets negligent sometimes. We get negligent sometimes, and we don't clean there, and we just let it sit there for months, sometimes even month, and we just don't clean it. But I have to say that it's one of the most important stuff that you have to do, because it could build up a lot of algae and a lot of bacteria in there. And I'll show you the stuff that just gets back there without even us knowing it when I'm gonna suck the water out of there, and I'll let you guys see it. Now that everything is out, I'm gonna take out my 2 pumps and put them inside of a container, add some water to it. And one thing that I love is the Tunzi citric acid. I mean, you could use vinegar, but I personally do not like vinegar because it's too hard and too harsh on the equipment. So add some Tunzi citric acid to the water, and just let your pump sit in there just for a couple of minutes. I usually leave it for like 20 minutes to an hour. Nothing is gonna happen. It's not as strong as that. So just give it a little bit, and this will get everything off of your pump and makes it clean as the first day that you got them. Now that we're ready, one of the important things is that to clean the sand of your aquarium. Now, if you have a deep sand bed and one of your filtration is your sand, you don't want to agitate your sand, because every time you do this, you kill a lot of bacteria inside of your sand, and that by itself becomes a source of nitrate. But me, myself, in my tank, I don't have a deep sand bed, and I don't rely on the filtration as much on my sand as some other people. So I clean my sand. One other thing that you could do is to get starfish, sand sniffing starfish, or some other critters to clean your sand. But personally, I like to use when I do water change, I like to clean my sand and get everything out of there as much as I can, and that this helps just make the sand look prestige and makes it looks very, very nice. Now, as I have told you guys, the back of your overflow box, look what's coming out of my overflow box. Now, this is nasty. This is all the food that gets trapped in the bottom of your overflow box. That's why it's really, really important to clean your overflow box at least once every other week, if not once a week, while you do your water change. And I do this, I haven't done the back of my overflow box for like a month, so that's why I just wanted to leave it there to let you guys see what can build up in there. And this is the source of nitrate. This is why people have high level of nitrate, high level of phosphate, high level of anything, and it's very bad. Even smells really foul. So every time you do your water change, you make sure to suck out every single um, sip of water in the back of your filter, on the back of your overflow box, and just examine it like I do. You see, I have that little tool that I try to get everything out of there, agitate the water to have all those uh, nasty stuff and gunks come out of there, and put a pump in there. If you don't want to do this, put a pump in there. Now I have a pump in there. Before I didn't, but now I put a pump in there that the water gets agitated. And if you look in the back of my overflow box, it is clean. It's one of the cleanest part of my aquarium. Now again, if you see some stuff that you cannot take out with your hand, I recommend using a little bit of water and a turkey paster to just push the water in there and grab them out physically out of the aquarium, so you can discard them that way. This again, every step that you do could help clean your aquarium. And as you can see, I go on top of the aquarium with a turkey paster, and I just take some water out of my tank, push it in there, make the water agitated a little bit, and go in there and just suck that water out and try to get all the gunks out of there as well. And I just throw it in a bucket. Now again, you want to have some towel or something underneath your tank, because if you haven't done that for a while, I will tell you that it's going to be really, really nasty, and it will smell really bad. Now it's time to check on your pumps. It's been some times, and now you just want to get that toothbrush that I was talking about and just clean the pumps a little bit. And as you can see inside the water, it becomes really nasty, and you could just take all this stuff out of there and makes it clean. So that's something that you could do. Now look what I took out of those pumps. They looked clean, but in reality they look really bad, and they need to be. That's why they need to be cleaned at least once a month, if not bi-weekly or weekly. So this is something I need to give a little bit of attention to. And before putting it back in your aquarium, rinse it. You have to rinse those pumps, and just use tap water. You don't have to use RODI, but you must rinse them thoroughly to get every and any citric acid or anything off of it, and so you can put it back in your aquarium. Now before putting it back in the aquarium, just let it dry and let them just sit there for a couple of minutes. That way, if there is anything else in it, it will help kill it, and it will be ready to go back into your aquarium. And look at them, they look brand new as they just been opened right now. And I'm ready to pour the water back in there. I am filling the aquarium back up, and I'm ready to put the water back in there and fill it back up. Just one thing, when you do your water change, you don't want to do water change and change your filter stock at the same time. You want to do your water change today and change your filter stocks the next day, because that's, if you do it all at the same time, it will create a little I could say a little cycle inside your aquarium. So you don't want to do that. Make sure that if you're changing your water today, do your filter stocks tomorrow. That will help you a lot to not have any mini cycle. Now as you can see, the water right now it's a little bit cloudy. Now what I do is that the hose that I used to took the water out of my aquarium. I connect the back of it to my pump, and I put it in my bucket of water that I have, so I don't have to grab any bucket and pour it inside my tank, and I just let it fill up by itself, just like this. It takes a little time, but I think it's worth it. and that's the process that I take to change my water. Now, another thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to create a refugium inside my sump. I put a rock in there, I put some beneficial mud in there, and I wasn't really happy with the result because it was giving me more algae problem than it was making solution. So I am thinking of taking everything out there, clean the refugium section, and just get rid of all of it and put either a calcium reactor or go with the zeolite method and put a zeolite reactor in there. It's not likely that I will go the zeolite method, but it's very likely that I will put calcium reactor in there to clean the water and give my trace element that I need. So refugium did not like it, and I'm taking it out. Another thing that is very important is that when you do your maintenance, make sure to change your filters. Now I have two stuff in here that I change. One is carbon, and another item is GFO, and another thing is the ChemiPure Blue that I have inside of my Reef Supply Deluxe reactors. And every month I change my GFO, and every 2 weeks I change my carbons. Now again, I have not been cleaning the tank for a month, so I am gonna change both of them. I'm gonna change my carbon and my GFO and my ChemiPure Blue. The ChemiPure Blue, I change it every 3 months, so that will still remain in there. But as far as those two items, it's time to change them. I just simply bring them out. I take them and I clean them, rinse them, take everything out of there, pull the new stuff in there, pull the new media in there, and I just bring it back in and plug them in. So this is the end of part 1 of how to maintenance your aquarium and bring it back to disaster. Part 2 will be done tomorrow, and I will record it and I will post it for you as soon as possible. I hope you like it, you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, and if you have any question, don't forget to leave a comment down below, and I will surely get back to you as soon as possible. Have a good day. Happy reefing. AtReef.